Let's have a look at the Racing Post Arkle, which in the last few weeks there's been no Dynamite Dollars, there's no Le Richebourg, of course, more recently. I suppose the thing I'd throw out there to begin with, Dave, as we look with Lalor at 130, Dave Nevison, if you want. This is with Betfair. The last 4 or 5 years we've had favourites at 4 to 6, 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 5 to 6, and here we are 130 the field at the moment.
Well, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's great to see great horses like Altior, but it's also great to see a competitive race. It obviously doesn't make it any easier. I'm going to be putting up no selection by the end of this, but I'm still a big fan of Lalor, based on its Cheltenham run. I thought it was well backed this day. It was a very emotional day, obviously. And subsequently he's been to Sandown, where I heard on good authority that the jockey wasn't happy with him down the long back straight and decided that the race couldn't be won. And back at Cheltenham, I think he wants spring ground, and if rain doesn't come, I think that would help him. But I just think he was a fantastically enthusiastic jumper here. And he's definitely a contender. He
proved he wasn't just an Aintree horse, of course, this day. Dave Yates, you were down in Devon at the press afternoon at Cayley Woolacotts last week. How do you think the horse will go?
I think he'll run very well. They were going to give him a run at Doncaster prior to the festival, but the ground was too quick. But he just looked a natural round Cheltenham this day. Obviously, he won the bumper at Aintree 2 years ago and was a Grade 1 winner over hurdles last April. That was going to be the horse's main target, but after he'd done that in November, they had to revise that, and it's pretty plain to see why they did.
The relationship with Richard Johnson has been a really productive one, of course, and last week I think Richard Johnson was at Catterick on the Friday. They were due to gallop the horse at Exeter after racing on the Friday, but they waited until the Saturday to get him and the horse back together again, and he's been a good ally.
Yeah, he has. I mean, there's no knocking that performance at Cheltenham. I was really disappointed with him at Sandown. I don't think I wouldn't 100% buy into the ground being the issue. It was soft enough when he won at Aintree last year, and to be sort of labouring in the way that he was, as far out as he was at Sandown, I just smell there might have been some other issue that day. Whether it was just an off day, a below par performance, I don't know. But coming straight into, on the back of that, 3 months off, he performed poorly the last time that we saw him. There is rain forecast as well, so if that is a problem for you, then you know it might well be soft ground on day one of the festival anyway. I think he's at the price that he is, no knocking the horse's ability, he's a very good horse, we know that, but at the price that he is, with the sort of preparation or lack of that he's had, I think he's a horse that we can very much get against at the top of the market.
So what, 100 to 30 with Lalor at the top. In terms of a recent addition to the Arkle picture, Glen Forsa comes in a real role, who has done everything right over fences and has dropped in trip gradually each time. This was him getting the better of Kalashnikov in just that 3-runner race. Dave Nevison, back at Sandown a couple of weeks ago in the rescheduled Kingmaker. He comes in a real role. Do you think he could just absolutely destroy them from the front in the Arkle?
Well, I think Kalashnikov told me on this occasion that he's not good enough jumping fences to be I think he was Arkle favourite going into that, and now his price has lengthened. I don't want to take anything away from the performance. Who is just Glen Forsa, just straightforward, galloping, jumping. He'll clearly get the trip, clearly improving. I think Kalashnikov ran so below this time. I don't really know how much he proved or what the value of the form is, but I couldn't knock the progressive profile.
But in a race, Dave Yates, where there are obviously a few question marks about, you can't question the form and the well-being of the horse at the moment, it would seem.
Well, Glen Forsa, I mean, I think there's a question mark about whether he's good enough. He's rated 150 now. Now, I think Altior was 100 and he was massively higher than that when he won it a couple of years ago. I've written down 170. Western Warhorse was 135 coming into it.
Yep.
I just think that what you've got is a horse who, initially they thought this was a JLT horse. And
a Close Brothers horse initially, I think.
Yeah, and then 2.5 mile horse. And then they've changed their mind on that, coming back to 2. I think that the form obviously needs improving on. He's 3 from 3. He's going the right way. It's hard to believe that was Kalashnikov at his best at Sandown last time, though.
The Irish Challenge is very interesting. The likes of Paloma Blue, the likes of Ornua, and also the likes of a horse that I know that the man to my left, Martin Dixon, likes a lot. Horse that I do pronounce a couple of different times, Duc de Ginevra. He's not always the easiest one to do. I'll leave that one to you. I should have just sent that stage left straight away, actually, Martin.
Yeah, this was sort of him showing how good he is for the first time, I think, really. He was allowed to stride on in front, and I think that was pretty key, on this occasion at least, to just open him up, get him jumping, get him travelling. And this was at Goran early, well, a few weeks ago now. There's some good horses in behind him. He's completely dominant. He's very enthusiastic. He's a very enthusiastic horse. I think 2 miles on a stiff track like Cheltenham, this was 2.5 this day, but I think on a stiff track like Cheltenham, 2 miles will be perfect for him. He's probably going to have to take a lead, so it'll be slightly different tactics, but with the likes of Knocknanoose and Glen Forsa in the field, we are likely to get a very strongly run Arkle. And I think, you know, the fact that he's got that 2.5 mile stamina already proven, he'll just settle in behind a strong pace. I think the makeup of the race is likely to suit him very well. And just to touch a little bit more on that race as well, Monolly ran an hour earlier in the Grade 2 on the card. Duc de Ginevra carried 2 pounds more weight. He clocked a faster time by about 2 seconds. So it was a very good, again, time comparison wise, it was a very good performance from Duc de Ginevra. And go back to last season when he was a big baby as well over hurdles. He was second to Sam Crow in the Deloitte. He ran very well actually for a long way in the Ballymore at the festival before he just got tired over the extended 2.5 miles that day. So I think, as I say, strongly run 2 miles around Cheltenham will be spot on for him. He goes into it an improving horse. And I think in what is probably going to end up being quite a weak renewal of the Arkle, relatively speaking, I think he's got a very, very good chance.
There's been a bit of money around in recent days for the likes of Hardline. If I were to pin you down for a selection now, obviously we're 8 days away, or a horse that you're really looking forward to in the race, who would it be?
I'm looking forward to Lalor coming back. But look, I think it's going to be a terrific Arkle. I'll put up Lalor if you want me to put one up. But I just think on that last race that we've seen, Tower Bridge was flying into second place, having been about 50 lengths behind, and he's in the Close Brothers in the McManus colours, so I wouldn't be surprised if that one runs a bit better there in the handicap.
Okay, Dave Yates, the Arkle.
Well, I hope Layla runs really well. I suspect that he might drift in the run-up to next week, and if he does, I think that he might edge towards a backable price.
And we've got Duc de Ginevra for you, Martin.
I think he's, as we sit here today, I think he's one of the best bets at the current prices. I think he should just about be favourite for the rest.
Okay.